Hey guys, I hope that you're all doing extraordinarily well today. I've been having a lot of this desperation come up. The feelings of desperation have become, or have been, a big part of my path. It seems that these are the feelings that the divine is really wanting me to meet. And there's like no going around them. There's no escaping them. There's no creating circumstances in such a way to avoid them. It's like I've tried all of those things. It seems, at least for this lifetime, or at least for this period of time, that a major theme for me is just, like meeting this sense of these feelings that they're really convinced that someone outside of here is going to save them. It's like they're all like, they have this instinct or this habitual pattern of, oh, that is going to save me, or they are going to save me. And so, I could feel what God has been asking me to do is just like rerouting these energies. It's like rerouting them to God. In a way, this is how God is helping embody, or helping this humanity become embodied. It's like God is finding all the areas within me that are really convinced that they're separate from God, that they're separate from love. And she's just doing this thing where she's bringing forward the perfect challenges to elicit the feelings of desperation in my body. And it's kind of like checkmate. Like the mind has done everything it can to, like I said, make a life in such a way that these feelings are never discovered. But it's just, my path has been so difficult. And I mean, all our paths are difficult in a certain way, right? We all have a certain karma. Spiritual Renaissance talks about, you could break it down into, you either have relationship karma, health karma, or money karma. Maybe you have all three, maybe you have two of them. But it's like, even if you have a very comfortable material life, or you have a lot of material abundance, God is going to find a way to contact, to trigger the parts of you that you really have the most difficult time meeting. So God's going to use some type of karmic situation for you to meet all of yourself. Because that's sort of the point. It's like all of these energies and shapes within us, wounds. It's like eventually we want them all to meet God. And so that's just been a theme for me, is like God's been, just one challenging circumstance after another. I'm always just like my hands in the air. Like I just feel like I don't know. I'm trying my best down here, I guess. It's like, just to give last night, actually it doesn't even feel that authentic to share specifics in this video. It's just, that's all we can do sometimes, is we just put our hands up. Like, we try our best, but God seems to always checkmate the parts of us that, want to avoid the difficulty. It's like, no, it's like God's like, I want you to be in contact with these parts of you that are suffering, that are hurting. So I'm going to as a blessing, give you this really difficult circumstance, or this difficult 6 months, or difficult whatever, few years, lifetime. So that you can bring all of these parts of yourself home to the light. I could feel that last night as I was going through something really challenging. Just these energies come up of just feeling desperate. I was just desperate. And just noticing, like, myself allowing those energies to meet the divine. Just like giving them over to the divine. Just like one layer at a time. Here, you meet God. Here, I'm going to give you to God. And, you know, I'm still definitely a work in progress, but noticing my improvement of how in the past I would more often do this. I would more often go seeking, go chasing after something when these energies of desperation would come up. You know, I wouldn't quite have the strength I have now. I wasn't quite rooted in this power, this divine power that's waking up in my being. So I would just feel so overwhelmed. It's like, I can't meet this alone. So I would go into all these, you know, old tendencies of mine. And I think a big part of why I'm just a bit more sturdy now when desperation comes up, and I'm a bit just able to be with it a bit more, and why I've gotten more rooted in my divine nature. A big part of that is Cesare, Julian, Craig Holiday, the sanghas that I'm in. It's like I've gotten a lot of help, you know? Not a lot, but a lot, enough. And I'm the type that I have to be super desperate before I ask for help in that way. Yeah, but it's through just doing a lot of relational healing that I've gotten a bit more sturdy. So when these desperate parts come up, I don't have to go into the addiction, or I don't have to go chase that person that I know. It's like these parts are convinced, oh, that woman or that person, that's the medicine, right? That's going to make me feel better. It's like maybe temporarily, like a drug, but then this desperation is just going to come back, right? It's just going to come back around. And there's something in my being that's like really wanting to be free. It's like really wanting to not be a prisoner to the feelings of desperation anymore. Like, yeah, feeling desperate. Okay, it's desperate. It's a desperate feeling coming up. This one is, and under desperation is fear. It's like, this one's scared. This one doesn't like the unknown so much. It's, you know? So it's desperately, I'm desperate for something or someone, please help me. And it's like, Divine Mother, Archangel Michael, Jesus, Source, whatever your word is, whatever you connect with in a non-physical way, or in the non-physical that is supportive to you. It's like, that's the healer. And if we're feeling overwhelmed, we go to a healer in the physical, or we go to a therapist, or maybe we have amazing friends that can do that for us, if you're that blessed, you know? Like, hold space for us, help, because these parts, they need presence. Like, when the desperation comes up in our body and it feels overwhelming, it just needs presence. So we want to be as conscious with it as possible. We want to take it into containers where there's a lot of presence for it, like containers where, like, the other person is there for those parts of us. That's so crucial. And that's not really what we get in romantic connection, right? We might get a little bit of it at first, but ultimately it's like there's too much other stuff involved in those containers for those to really work. They don't work, you know, for those reasons. And that's why we tend to want to go into those connections in a state of wholeness, more in a state of what can I give? But a lot of us go into those, like, and we get involved in trauma bonds and And sometimes we have to do that too, and that's a tantric way of healing. And if you find yourself in that scenario, you know, you just bring love to yourself there too. You don't make yourself wrong or bad. That's the thing, when you're feeling desperate feelings and you go to addiction or to the old habit, or you chase sex, or, you know, whatever the thing is, and you find yourself doing that, notice that you can't help it, and you get to love yourself in that place too. It's like you get to love yourself as you're reaching from a place of desperation, as you're looking to the external to save you, even though you know only God can save you, even though you know you should go to a healer, you should go to a therapist, but dang it, I'm going to whatever. I'm gonna go smoke this cigarette, I'm gonna go eat this thing, or I'm gonna go, you know, chase this guy or this girl. You know, as you're doing it, just noticing that it can't be helped in that moment, and bringing yourself this supreme love. It's like you want to find love for yourself in every spot, so there's no division within you. That's going to move you through this the fastest. It's bringing that love and compassion to yourself even as you smoke the joint that you said you weren't gonna. Not saying that, and I'm not even making any, there's no judgments about any of this stuff being right or wrong, good or bad. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, because then anywhere you're moving can be a pathway of healing in a sense, when you're bringing love to yourself. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. It's like the divine is triggering just desperate energies and feelings up in me, just through just things that are out of my control. It's like, geez, it's like no matter what, if I go that way or that way, this way or this way, it's just like, regardless of what decisions I'm making, it seems like the divine is gonna just create the perfect scenarios for these desperate parts of me to come up and be met. And for me, it's getting comfortable being uncomfortable. It's like, these are really uncomfortable times for a lot of us. And like I said, that it can be in so many ways. It's like tailored perfectly to your being and to your soul's path, the sense of uncomfort that might be coming up for you. But I'm just learning to become comfortable with desperation, comfortable with fear, comfortable with lack, with scarcity. Like, yeah, that's what's happening. Doesn't seem to be like there's anything I can do about it, except, you know, just bring loving tenderness to it and continue to try my best to take great care of this body and this being. I mean, but there's this sense that we're on this path to freedom. Like these, as a new layer of these unconscious energies within us are contacted by the divine, it's like we're that much more free. We're that much more empowered. I can feel that happening for me, just coming into my power, in the sense of like, I don't need to know what's going to happen in the next moment anymore. Like God kind of took that from me, like the ability to plan. And anytime I plan anything in this life, it never fucking works. It never fucking works out how I think it should or will, or never. Nothing ever works out how my mind says it should, ever. And so I've gotten into this free place where I'm just like, I guess I don't plan anymore. I guess I just merge with this moment and enjoy it. It's like, that's the only move God has given me. It's like she's just taken my mind's ability. Like our mind wasn't even created to like be in control of this whole life force energy moving through us, this whole thing. It's like actually the body knows. It's like when we go to the body, that's what informs us of everything we need to know in this moment. And a lot of times the body's like, just chill. If you really go to your body for like what you need to know right now, like your mind might be scrambling. I need to know 75 different things. But if you actually go to your body right now for what you need to know, 97.8% of the time, or whatever, maybe 99% of the time, it's going to be so simple And it's going to say, just chill, just relax, open, surrender, allow. It's going to tell you, I got it. It's all good. It's like our bodies have a karma. They have a destiny. It's like your body's going to do whatever it's going to do no matter what, you know? But we're sitting here with our minds worrying about it every step of the way. Like that's going to change anything. It's so fucking funny and sad. It's like we create our own torture realm in the mind. It's like we're up in our mind thinking that if we think it out really well, like we're going to avoid suffering somehow. We're going to avoid pain. It's like, actually, that's what creates most of the suffering and pain that we experience, is thinking things out to try to avoid the pain and suffering. It's fucking comical. And sad. It's like, actually, if we're just chill in this moment, things are just going to flow how they were always going to flow, but we're actually going to be able to merge with things in a way that's going to be much more much more of a harmony, much more peaceful. Because we're not going to be up in the mind fighting something or stressing about something. That's always going to happen the same way no matter what. It's like it's always just going to do what life's just going to do what it wants to you no matter what your mind's doing anyways. So I've been feeling the Divine Mother just taking my mind kind of away from me in a beautiful way. Like, honey, you just don't need to go to the mind anymore. It's just causing you more pain and suffering. It's like you can just be here in this moment and know that you're safe. It's like you can know that you're safe. It's like some things like you can know that you don't have to go to your mind to be safe, because going to the mind, it wasn't keeping us safe. Anyways, that's not what was keeping us safe. It's like that's such an illusion we get trapped in, and we think if we're to just live through our heart, and if we're just to live in presence with this moment, that somehow something horrible is going to happen. And that's also the mind. That's what the mind does to try to keep its control on us, because it can be very scary to open to this moment with no coping mechanisms, with no ideas about it, with no projections of it should go this way. It's like parts of us get super convinced that all hell's going to break loose if we just let go and just let this moment be our guide, be our teacher. And there's something in my heart waking up like, that sounds so fun. Like, there is a joy to it. There's an expansiveness to it. There's a deep peace to it. Because that's actually all that this moment is. It's just joy and peace. And love. That's actually what it is. That's actually what we surrender into when we let go of the mind. And it's gradual, I know. Sometimes it can happen like that. Sometimes it takes a long time. But yeah, that's all that's been happening for me, is just everything falling away that's keeping me from experiencing this moment directly. And that's all the Divine's trying to do for us. She's just trying to break us free of everything that's keeping us from being here fully. Because that's the peace we're actually seeking is actually found when we're just here fully. The peace isn't in a certain circumstances. It isn't in a certain person accepting us. It isn't in the validation we think we're going to get, or that we think we need from someone or some other people. It isn't in a certain amount of money in the bank account. It's like it's here. It's just ever present. And that can be, the mind can really veil that knowing and that felt sense, communion with this moment. It's like that's what the mind really does for a while, until it can't anymore, until we just see through it all, until we're just like, we're not so convinced by the mind anymore. It's like all of our minds have a degree of neurosis. And eventually we wake up out of the mind and realize, oh my God, that's just neurosis. That's just fear. That's not true. I don't need to listen to that anymore. And we just keep letting it run, and the programs of fear and neurosis, they just keep running, but we get more stabilized and centered and rooted in this place that's just spaciousness. That's just awareness itself. There's this quote that's so beautiful. It's something like, your mind needs you meaning awareness, but you don't need your mind. Like, awareness doesn't really need the mind. And the mind's a tool, it can serve a purpose, and I don't want to be sitting here, let's just ignore, like, let's make the mind an enemy. That's not what I'm trying to teach here or communicate. I'm just saying, like, your mind isn't like some boss that you need to be servile to. It's like, it's just this mechanism. It's just something that's, to me, it's just so rooted in fear that it's more like something we can just have compassion for, and like, oh, like tenderness. It's to have a lightness with it. We don't need to be so serious. Like, the mind is so serious, right? It just grabs onto things. It wants concepts. It wants knowledge. It wants to be smart. It wants to be right. The mind is so serious. It's so rigid. It's like, you're an angel here. Just, you get to play. It's like, when you feel into your awareness, it's just, it's like, it's not serious. It's just silly. It can be fun. It's just spontaneous. It's relaxed. It's not in a state of judgment. It's allowing. It's receptive. It doesn't need anything, and it's just like, it doesn't need to chase, but it's open to experience. It's open to relationships flowing in. It's open to, like, having money come in, but it doesn't need it to feel good about it, itself. It's like, awareness is just like, it's just this space of loving presence that's just like life, life. It loves misery. It's like, oh, misery's coming. Wow. Okay, misery. But it's here for the body. It's here for the mind. It's here to support those parts of you. It's not like trying to push it away or abandon the humanity. It's always at peace. It's always in this state of allowing and okayness. But that doesn't mean it, like, ignores the parts of you that are otherwise. It's like, when we root into this loving presence enough, it actually tends. It tends to the humanity. It tends to the desperation. It tends to the fear. And the way it does that, it just, like, it doesn't churn from it. It welcomes it forward. It embraces it. And you are that. You're the loving presence, That's you. That's your true self. Your true nature. You are peace. You are fully surrendered to the divine in every moment. Like, that's who you are. All the constriction, the angst, the wanting to control. It's like, that's just a scared ego. That's a scared inner child. It's a scared mind. It's a program. It's trauma. And we're getting to meet it. As a loving presence we're getting to meet all of this. Because that's apparently why we came here. We came here to transform these animal bodies into something greater. It's like, we're that loving of a presence that we're like, yeah, I'll descend into that animal body and I'll transform it into a divine body. I'll do it. It might take 1,000 lifetimes, but fuck yeah, let's do that. Like, what could be more fun for loving presence than to transform pain into love? Like, fuck yeah. It's like, I'll do that. I'll go down there at 20, whatever, and I'll partake in that. It's like, that's how much love, that's how much love you are. That you could come into this realm at this time and be psyched about it somewhere in you. Somewhere in you is like, yeah, this is it. This is what I want. And you could be suffering on a physical, material level. You could be suffering on an emotional level. You could be going through health issues. You could be going through relationship troubles. But there's something inside of you that's just like, yeah, I'm here for this feeling too. I'm here for this sensation too. This too will know love. And that's it's a pretty amazing journey to be on. So yeah, hope that was something in there resonated. Spirit just wanted to keep talking and talking today. These videos, they come through for me too, you know. I'm always doing my best to include myself, of course. So yeah, so much love to you guys. See you in the next video. Namaste.